But let's move on for now. Donald Trump has dispatched border czar Tom Homan to Minneapolis to quash tension in the US city after recent shootings by ICE agents. Now, the Trump administration has softened its stance, but hopes a meeting with the city's mayor could help mediate ongoing protests. The US president says he wants a full investigation into the latest death.
We'll do whatever's appropriate. You know, we secured the border. Remember that. We secured the border. We did things that nobody thought was possible. Tom Homan is over there. We all love Tom.
Yeah.
And he met with the governor, met with the mayor. He's going to meet with the mayor, I guess. And it's going very well. But remember this, even Minnesota, their crime is down. And you know why it's down? Because of what we did.
Mr. President, why did you decide to shake up your leadership team in Minnesota and send Tom Homan?
I do that all the time. I shake up teams. Everybody here, these are a lot of owners of farms and places. And you shake up your team if they can't do the crops fast enough.
Well, joining me live is Democrat strategist and Third Way Executive Vice President for Policy, Jim Kessler. Jim, lovely to see you. What's your take on this?
This has been a disastrous turn of events for Donald Trump. Immigration, border security was the issue in which he was probably strongest in the country in terms of public approval. Now he's down 25 points on it. People feel he is dramatically overreached in terms of enforcement in cities, particularly Minnesota. This is the second death in 2 weeks. Both of them really should not have happened. They doubled down on those deaths by chastising the victim of that crime, but it was all on film. We could all see it. And are you going to believe the Trump administration? Are you going to believe your own lies? And they just can't seem to get ahead of this story. And they're in a spiral right now that they don't really know how to get out of, because to get out of, you'd have to admit that you were wrong. And that's just not Donald Trump's style. So they're just caught in this cycle of political hurt while the nation is really torn apart right now.
President Trump claims that he wants a full investigation into this. Do you trust that?
I don't. And look, the proof is going to be in the pudding. They've said a lot of things. They haven't really followed through. Again, right away after these incidents, they made their pronouncements and issued statements to the highest levels of the Trump administration that turned out to be false. So I think whether I believe it's true or not, I think probably about 50 to 60% of Americans don't think it's true. So they've got a steep hill to climb on this, and it's bleeding into other issues. His approval ratings are at an all-time low.
What do you make of this reshuffle and sending Tom Homan?
So that was a good move, and there is a split within the Trump administration on immigration enforcement. And just, for your viewers, there are probably about 14 to 15 million people in the United States who are illegal immigrants. They came here illegally or overstayed a visa. Of those, most of them are living an honorable life in this country, trying to earn a living, trying to raise a family, and then some have committed real crimes and are a problem. The question is, do you go after the worst of the worst, go after those, or do you do sort of a dragnet and try and get everybody? And the Kristi Noem Bovino side of the equation said, we're going to get everybody. And the Tom Homan side says, let's go after people who have committed crimes once they are in this country or have a deportation order that they ignored. And that's a lot of people, but they're just going through a dragnet. So this may signal a real shift in all of the immigration strategy, enforcement strategy, not just Minnesota. And I think that would be smart.
Jim, what internal protocols govern the use of lethal force by ICE and Border Patrol agents during these kind of enforcement operations?
Right. So if you look at it out there, and I'm going to quibble with something Donald Trump said while we were on the air, that these are paid agitators. I know a lot of people in Minnesota, and I know people who are going to these protests. They're not paid. They're just people showing up because they're outraged. Generally, the protocol with all law enforcement in America is that you try to de-escalate the situation. Now, I want to give law enforcement their due here in this country because we are a nation of armed citizens. Probably 40% of Americans have a gun in the home. So law enforcement never knows when they're in a situation that can become lethal. But in a situation with ICE, like, they're doing things that I've never seen in this country. They aren't wearing badges. They aren't using warrants to kick in doors. They are smashing car windows. They're arresting American citizens, demanding that they have papers, and they are using force before they are de-escalating the situation. And in the latest killing, the force that they used before the shooting was there was a woman there, middle-aged woman. They shoved her to the ground. It was completely uncalled for. They are out of control. They need to be reined in.
Okay, Jim Kessler, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for your time.